Hello everyone, Philip here in my A to Z series from awareness to Zen, food and diet. Today is the letter E, and actually today's the first full day of a 1 week break that I've got, hence the lovely tropical background to the video today. I've come to Changdao, which is about 60-70 kilometers north of Chiang Mai where I live. Changdao is a haven of nature and tranquility. You may hear some birds and you may hear the stream in the background. Not sure about the microphone. E stands for not many foods. In fact, the only two foods I've got well, there's three foods: eggs, eggplants, and elderberries. Now, I know elderberry is commonly made into wine. Don't know much about elderberry, but I do know all berries are very good for you. Eggplants. In Thailand, we have various eggplants. We have a little, like a little pea shape, which to most Western palates is very bitter. But being bitter, it's very good for the liver and blood and detoxifying properties. If you've been to Thailand and had the green curry, you may remember little round pea-like things, and those are eggplants, not the normal eggplant that many people are aware of. Eggs are interesting. If you don't have ethical issues and you do eat eggs, it definitely makes sense to get organic eggs, or most importantly, eggs from chickens that have a life, not living in a prison. And the taste is very different. I remember a trip down to Australia several years ago, and I was really looking forward to well, it was before in fact it must be 15 years ago, because I was still eating bacon then, and I was looking forward to my eggs and bacon, cooked it up and put them in my mouth, and I'm not really joking when I say I wasn't sure if I'd put egg in my mouth or bacon in my mouth, so tasteless were both. Organic eggs have a good taste. I love eggs. My mum used to cook eggs when we were young, and I have read in my research before that foods that are good for you, whole foods, certainly not corporate foods, but whole foods that your mum or your dad used to cook for you when you were young. Now, my mum was born and brought up in Africa, and eggs were a common staple food over there, and so we had eggs all the time when I was a kid. Scrambled eggs, boiled eggs, baked eggs, fried eggs. I've missed one. One of my favourite foods or meals, and breakfast is my favourite meal. One of my favourite meals is scrambled egg on toast, and nowadays, not eating much meat, I'll have that with asparagus, shiitake mushrooms, cherry tomatoes, and I'll wash it down with a pot of green or oolong tea. So eggs, if you eat them, find the more expensive ones and eat those, because they're a proper whole food, and I know that eggs have various goodies and nutrients in them that our body needs. Echinacea deserves a mention. I have a tincture. I have a bottle, a small bottle. It's about 30 millimeters, I think, milliliters. And echinacea is a wonderful herb for whenever you think you're coming down with a cold or you're getting run down. On my bottle it just says put 15 drops into a glass of water, a little bit of water, and I swill it around under my tongue to increase absorption. And I don't get colds really very often at all now, but sometimes I feel like one's knocking on the door, as it were. So I go straight to my echinacea, I measure out 15 drops, a little bit of water, I take them, a bit of vitamin C as well, because I've always got ascorbic acid, and the next morning, right as rain. And in our current times, you know, I think if people had echinacea, you know, people talk about vitamin D and zinc and so on, fine, fantastic. But get yourself a bottle of echinacea. 30 ml is a big bottle, and mine's lasted me 2 years so far. I bought it in England. It's not native to Thailand. I think it is native to Europe, as is another herb, which is, oh, by the way, echinacea spelling is ECH Inacea. And another excellent herb for colds and so on, because it directly works on your lungs, is elecampane. And I think again this is native to Europe and America. Elecampane. Definitely look it up. If you've got elecampane and echinacea, and a cold's coming along or a flu's coming along, get in there quick before it develops. Much easier to reverse it. Um, Good herbs. E stands for eating as well, and I'd just like to mention a couple of things about eating. People think what you eat is important, and of course it is. But there's other things. There's how you eat. A couple of things worth knowing about, I think. Number one, chew thoroughly. Um, Help your body get the digestion going. Your saliva has various enzymes and things in there, and mix it up with the food, and it just works. Just your body likes it better. That's what the teeth are for, and the saliva. So, and I've heard drink your food and eat your drinks. So swish your juices around with saliva and then swallow, and chew your food so thoroughly that it's like a mush, and then swallow. Um, how also includes what we drink with our food. Um, Many years ago, I had a young class, 18-year-olds, I think, in the university I teach in. Um, and one of the girls, I think she was half German, half Thai, doesn't matter, but I remember her. And she just casually said that we shouldn't drink lots of water with our meals. And my ears pricked up at this, because as a boy I would drink 2, 3, 4 glasses of water with every meal, and couldn't really eat without lots of water. I also suffered a lot of stomach aches when I was young. I look back and I think that all this large amount of water with my food was a culprit. Um, I think it's impacting on the digestion process. Uh, I went to India, I think it's probably 3 years ago now, for 3 weeks, 2 weeks at an Ayurveda centre to get some help with my eye. And you with the meals, they served up hot water. I'd never seen this before. In Thailand, they love iced water with their drinks, but if you're drinking cold water, again, you're negatively impacting on the digestion process, so you're making your body work harder, and worth knowing about. Drink room temperature water, not a lot, maybe half a glass or 1 glass. I've seen this recommended in many books since I heard my students say that. When to eat. Most people will do well to have a regular eating time, regular time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Lunch is supposed to be at midday to 1 o'clock because of the heat of the day, the digestion. It's meant to be the biggest meal. Often it isn't. Many people eat dinner, a big dinner. Um, whatever you eat for dinner, the advice is to eat it at least 3 hours before you go to bed. And then you can fully digest your dinner, and then when you go to sleep, your body can do all its repair work without having to digest your dinner. Where to eat? Well, have you ever been to a lake or eaten in a restaurant by the sea and wondered why the food tastes so much better? Not that we can all go to a lake or the sea to have our meals every day, but there's a lot of negative ions, IONS, floating around where you get bodies of water. Negative ions are positive news, and they clearly infuse the food and make it taste better. So if you can ever get a meal, take a picnic, get by a river, a lake, the sea, and enjoy the food even more. Eating is central to being a human being. and many people are held hostage by their tongue. That's something you might want to work on. If you're eating whole foods, nothing to worry about. If you're eating corporate foods, your junk foods, your donuts, your burgers, your chips, your fried foods, all those sweet foods and fatty foods, nothing wrong with fats, but the wrong fats, um, not good. Okay, I think that's E. That'll do for today. I'm going to get back to tomorrow I'm going to record F, and you may like to think about the fruits that you eat and how many fruits you eat. I'm going to take a walk I'm at my little cabin now. I'm going to take a walk tomorrow and go up to a house in the middle of nowhere, and there's a big stream noise there, so we'll see how we get on. But until then, happy eating, everybody. Philip checking out. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.